Hello, friends, and welcome to Complex Relations. Relationships are never simple, even though we may want them to be. But this is a summer romance for three, and that kind of rhymes. But this is the demo. This is the final demo, final updated demo until release. When is it going to be released? Soon. I don't have the exact date. I'm sure it's out there, but this is made by a company called MyWorks. You can download it off of itch.io demo, that is. And I'll have all the links in the description below for your lovely viewing pleasure. So, a thing I'm going to do now is that playing these games, they're long-winded games, right? You don't know what's going on. You know, what's the story like? Well, I will give you a synopsis now before I play the game, so you can decide if you want to continue on watching this or just cuck off. Here we go. This is from the developer page. This isn't my synopsis. So here we go. Complex Relations is an erotic romance visual novel in three perspectives, exploring three unique protagonists' experience of love, sex, change, and growth. The summer of 2007, right before the recession hit, on their final break before college, a group of friends take a trip off of the grid to a secluded lake house. Three of them, hoping to strengthen old friendships, form new romances, or have a fun summer fling, will find something different and much more memorable than they ever bargained for. So there you go. Three distinct viewpoints. High quality CGs featuring lush natural environments plus uncensored sexual content. Is there uncensored sexual content in the demo? I don't know. Maybe. I'll just say yes. Handcrafted artisanal sprite dynamics, a physical and digital secluded mid-2000s wilderness setting as opposed to non-2000s wilderness setting. I don't even know what that even means. A demo of over 28,000 words arranged in fun and original orders. I also don't quite understand what that means. Well, there you go. There's your synopsis. Let's get into it. Those are the features. I pull in onto a driveway long enough to hold a respectable spot among the ranks of celebrity mansions. Celebrity mansions. It's not that Meredith's family is that rich. The woods up here are just big enough to fit a small country. We've been driving for what feels like hours now, and about half of that has been through this rolling sea of trees. Make sure it's recording. Okay, good. Car crunching over gravels enough to wake Alexa, who's been dozing for the last hour. Amber's still holding her half of it in an expression where I can't tell if she's asleep or just kind of checked out on our company. John, Meredith, and Vanny are already out of the car waiting for us just ahead. Well, if you've been waiting on any Are We There Yet, now is the time. Are we there yet? Hey, so this is the place. Meredith is cute, isn't she? You got that girl next door vibe. Hope you guys like it. This is the first time I've come here with anyone apart from my family, but it's a pretty nice place to just get away from it all, you know. A good chance to get crammed together in a house for a while so we can get nice and sick of each other before we have to split up for parts unknown. Jesus. Meredith gives John a squeeze. This is our last summer before we head off to college. I've known the two of them since middle school. We may have plenty of chances to see each other after this, but we're never going to be club mates again. You know, the whole kind of vibe changes once you graduate high school and all your friends move away. Maybe you don't see them ever again. It's quite sad. You know, you should really cherish those relationships you have in like junior high, high school, elementary school, because trust me, they're not going to last. I mean, some of them last, but very few of them do, and it's actually quite sad. Why spend our time stuck indoors? We've got more space out here than we know what to do with. Yeah, it's called the world. Yeah, come on, I'll show you around the place. Lex is cute too. Sorry, how long was that for? About the last hour of the trip. Ooh, Amber. Nice. They got that goth look going. I don't know if that was their intention, but that's what I'm getting from it. Looks like Amber was awake after all. you missed a lot, so I'll tell you. After you conked out, there were trees and lakes, lots of hills, more trees. And then we got here, so, you know, that was it. I've known Alexa for a few years through the Sci-Fi Fantasy Club. The car ride over here is the longest we've ever spent together at any one time. Amber and Vanny, I mostly know through Meredith and through Kiera, my ex, I guess you could say. It's a long story. I don't want to talk about it. It's probably awkward for them that I'm here and she's not, but it's, you know, it's even a longer story. It's not as bad as if we both were. Come on, let's just take the tour. She said there's a big work shed attached to the place you probably want to check out. Nothing like manual labor to take in the nature. Alexa. Thank God I don't have any Alexa controlled devices. This could be disastrous. Meredith has shown us around her house. So there's the fireplace, but we basically never use it because we're only ever here in the summer, obviously. We've got a campfire spot right outside anyway. So if we want to play with fire, we do it outdoors like responsible adults. Yes, always bring a bucket of water. Because you never know. Exactly. Smokey the Bear would like to remind you that he can only stamp out campfires, not house fires. That would be breaking and entering. Oh, I wish I could say something back though. I don't have anything witty. So if you guys do start a wildfire that wrecks the whole forest, it's gonna like spoil my good record and make my parents pretty pissed. So try not to, okay? Okay. It's okay, I won't do that voice all the time. Fine, Mur, for you. I will restrain my endless desire to burn everything to the ground. I know everyone here, but somehow with this many people in the conversation, I find it almost impossible to speak up. Give me 1 second here. Let's check out the settings while we're here. So there's your settings. You can do right, left for rollback. I don't know what that means. You can skip dialogue, full screen. You can change the full color text box or partial color. I can change the auto forward stuff, which we don't have that on. But I want the audio. It's over here. Unique. There we go. Let's turn it all down. Okay. I'm loud in my ears. Come on, I'll show you the bedrooms. Oh my. Bedroom. Where the magic happens. So this is the room I used to sleep in when we come here with my family. Sorry, it's a bit of a crunch for 3 people, but since you've all got sleeping bags, I guess you could pick pretty much anywhere else if you really wanted. Jesse's got my brother's room, which is pretty much identical. So how come we're getting stuck 3 to a room here while you 2 get the master bedroom? Man, that doesn't seem right. Because if the 2 of us didn't get a room to ourselves, the rest of you suckers would never have been invited in the first place. That's fair. Normally I'd never have chosen to come on a group trip like this. They're really not my thing. I only know Amber a little, and Vanny I really don't know at all. But yeah, I can't pass up the chance, you know? And who knows? Maybe new friendships are waiting just in the wing. Would have been great without Amber there, putting a barrier of silence over the whole car. Is she mad at him? Probably. It's hard to tell. She might just be like that naturally. I don't know. Okay, so if you're a snorer, a fair warning. I'm not going to find somewhere else to sleep. I'm just going to smother you to death. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, I should show you guys the worksheet. Come on. Okay, so honestly, I've literally never used anything in here. But it's got a lot of stuff. Saws, axes, hammers, a zillion types of screwdrivers. Think you can make anything cool here? Jesse pores over the equipment. He runs his fingers over his saw. Not like he's testing the edge, but like he's taking in its potential. Jesse, that cuts things. There's your potential. Oh my god, he gets that look. That look he gets? Do you think he can make another catapult like before? Like a big one which could launch us into the lake? Jesse was in the Medieval Recreation Club. Oh my god, that's a thing. I wonder what kind of budget they get. Near the end of last year, he designed a big working trebuchet. Yeah, like something out of Age of Empires, man. And they launched sacks of flour with it at the club fair. One kid died. Then they banned it. He'd hang out with the sci-fi club sometimes. Sci-fan club, I'm sorry. But I could never join medieval recreation with him. It's just, oh my god, it bores me to tears. I couldn't perform like that in front of people, you know? Besides, you know, he had a girlfriend. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but... Nah, I could do with the woodworking. There's nothing I could use for an axe, though, and I couldn't make a windlass for the counterweight here. Yeah, can't make a windlass. I don't know what we're talking about. I don't know what a windlass is. Also, if you get launched out of a trebuchet, you might get whiplash, hit the water at high speed, and drown. So, you know, it probably wouldn't really be a fun way to use it. Yeah, I could imagine just slamming into the water and just instantly dying. Fine, I'll get in the normal way. Jesse's going to be attending Wilson University in the engineering department. Ooh, an engineer. I am going to school currently to study computer engineering, and I'm really fascinated with it. I'll be going to Wilson too, as a matter of fact. This trip is my last good chance to tell him that I'll be there. And that's not a coincidence. Well, you'll have plenty of time to think of something. Come on, I'll show you the dock. This is where the boats come. Vanny. She's cute. I like Vanny. The lake is huge. I can see houses on the far end, but not a single other person out here aside from us. If you were going to get launched out into the lake with a huge catapult, this would probably be a perfect place to do it. Not that I know how to swim that well, but the idea still sounds cool, you know? So there's a motorboat, but I don't think it has any gas in it, and we hardly ever use it because it's so loud. But the rowboat could probably fit all 6 of us in if we wanted to get in at once. Would that be safe though? Probably, I don't know. Buoyancy or something? Probably okay. It is unless you're scared of drowning. Right. Well, anyway, there should be plenty of chances for everyone to go regardless. Can we row it out to the island out there? I've never been in actual serious wilderness before, and I might never get to be again after this. Sure, no problem. There's always some branches or something by the shore you can tie it to. Great. That's great. I get seasick. That's not so great. So how much of this space out here does your family actually own? Oh, shit, I don't know. You go far enough into the woods on either side, you'll run into other houses, but I don't know where the property actually crosses over. I've basically never seen anyone at them anyway. They're vacation homes too, but they're pretty much never here when we are. I couldn't even introduce you to whoever owns them. So at some undetermined distance from here, it becomes the Forbidden Forest. For a really loose value of forbidden. Jesse? It's a bit weird thinking of him as not being Kiara's boyfriend anymore. Not that I never took an interest in him before. Kiara was definitely the kiss and tell type. And kind of a bitch in the end. You know. Honestly, if we walk all the way to the other houses around here, as long as you don't take or damage anything or go inside, they're probably not going to give a shit. It's like, well, what's it called? Right of free passage? Something like that. That's how that works, right? Is it okay if I go check out the woods for a bit? Sure, go ahead. She was never seen again. I haven't seen another person aside from us in this whole huge place, even on the road up here. Somewhere where you're not being watched, whatever you do. Sounds pretty nice, to be honest. You know, getting away from everything. Might as well enjoy it while I can. That's for dang sure. Oh, okay. Who do I pick? I guess we're meeting these people. Vanny, of course. We messed around by the lake for a while before heading back in for dinner. Alexa cooked for everyone. She actually asked me if it's okay for me to eat burgers. I told her I was a vegetarian. She didn't quite understand. Or if it's against my religion. I told her it's fine, but you know, let's just keep that between the 6 of us. I don't think I've counted as an actual Hindu person for a long time now anyway, but I'd rather not get into that discussion. After dinner, we head out to the campfire for dessert. Oh wait, these are the perspectives. You know, honestly, I've always thought of s'mores as kind of like the butt monkey of desserts. I'm sorry, what? S'mores are amazing. Amber, really? This is completely like her. Amber's great, really, but in her head, there's never a wrong time or place to complain. She's a negative Nancy. Her name is really Amber, but we call her that. I mean, chocolate is kind of one of the basic elements of dessert, but then you're combining it with graham crackers, the most insipid cookie, and marshmallows, the most insipid candy. Okay, I hate this person already. I don't even know her. That's all it takes sometimes, just like something is universally loved and they just hate it. You don't actually have to eat them. You could just enjoy the campfire with us. I'm just saying, I actually kind of get it now. Like, they don't actually taste good. But it's kind of fun sticking shit in the fire trying to fashion it into crude dessert. You try to get it all golden and gooey or just let it blacken and catch fire, and it doesn't even really matter because the basic idea was already a failure. You're not coming on any more trips. Lexa looks embarrassed. Aw, she seems like the sort of person who hates arguing. Probably even the sort of dumb arguments that Amber starts on purpose like this. Yeah, she's like one of those people who will just hate on a popular topic just to piss people off and get people arguing. It's like, yeah, I think the Earth is like flat or shit, right? It just makes sense. Like, no, wait, you stupid. Don't. No. I think they're pretty good if you can get the consistency. Yeah, the consistency is the problem. Burn them all the time. I mean, I think burnt marshmallows actually taste good, but I'm weird, so I don't know. I mean, it's a dessert we're basically making with Stone Age technology. People might have been combining stuff over a campfire, trying to make it taste better for hundreds or thousands of years. It's a good point. When did someone, when did they come up with that idea? But now we're doing the same thing with ingredients from places all over the world and stuff which can only be made with modern technology. I think that's pretty cool. Well, now I feel bad, you guys, because I just unironically like marshmallow fluff. I do. I guess I like the total unapologetic sweetness. It doesn't try to pretend it's something it's not. It's not trying to pretend it's a healthy snack. We all know what it is. You always know where you stand with marshmallow fluff. That's right. Honestly, I really always like burning marshmallows more than eating them. Well, people are probably naturally attracted to fire. It's kind of one of our big ideas as a species. That was like the thing next to the wheel that really kickstarted the whole human race. Yeah, we should probably put it out soon, though. Come on, you guys should get a proper look at the night. When we're done eating, we put out the fire. As responsible adults. Meredith brings out some blankets for us to lie on while the sky goes dark. Ooh, isn't it pretty? My first time seeing the night sky like this. Ooh, can I get a look? No. Is there a button? What's the button? What's the controls? Is there a controls settings? No. Oh well. I like it's a good thumbnail right here. I think everyone should just go out in the country or the wilderness and just look up at the night sky and see all those beautiful stars. It's like, man. Totally different from seeing the real night sky out in the wild, not just seeing it in pictures, It's like comparing a real fireworks show to seeing them on a screen. It feels kind of crazy to think that I'm getting to see this for the first time just now. Not bad, huh? It's awesome. Seriously. Actually makes you think about how small we are and how vast the universe is and what our lives actually mean. All the classic night sky stuff you look at and you just feel so small and insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but I don't know. You're your own world. You're your own world and your own universe. You should treat yourself like that. If we were here about a month later, we could be seeing the Perseids right now. That's a big meteor shower. Sometimes you can see one about every minute. Well, maybe we should stay here a whole month and check it out. Even though I know there's no chance, I still mean it completely. I mean, I wish I could just stay out here forever. Those people who go off in the wilderness, live out here, it's like, man, it's just so peaceful and serene. You can't get that in the big cities. I mean, it's no wonder. Yeah, but being out here in the wilderness like this also makes you think how helpless we are without supermarkets and shit. Do you know where all the different constellations are? No. Orion's Belt is pretty much all I've got. I know a few. Oh, have you been out in the wild like this before? Oh no, not really. I just remember some of them. I think the mythology behind them is cool. I think the mythology is really cool behind constellations. I love, like, astronomy and stuff like that. It's very fascinating. I like it in stories when the settings have their own custom mythology, you know, with different constellations and stuff, and it's just something that people growing up with them all know. So I remember a bunch of the actual constellations we've got because it's kind of, you know, food for ideas. Can you point some of them out? Oh, sure. I'd be more than happy to. So the Big Dipper, starting over here, is about half of Ursa Major. Alexa runs through all the constellations she can remember and the stories behind them. I listen and prod her with questions on each one. Right now, I just want to take all this in and commit it to memory. When we're done, we head back in for the night. Could just, like, sleep out there. Really completely nice. I take advantage of the dark and uneven footing to hold on to Jessie as we walk. I want to get everything out of this trip that I can. There's Jessie. We like Jessie. She's good people. I wake up in the morning to an experience I haven't had in a long time. I don't have any idea what time it is, and you know what? For the first time in my life, I don't care. I've been letting myself sleep in since the end of school year, but I'm used to always being able to see a clock from my bed in the morning. It's kind of weird to think out here it doesn't really matter all that much. I take my cell phone from my pocket in my luggage while I'm getting dressed. There are no bars out here, but at least it still tells time. It's about 10 in the morning. Since I'm the only one who had a room to myself, I'm probably the last one up. Since it is a vacation, I guess I thought it was kinder not to wake me, but it was kind of weird getting ready in the morning in such a quiet house by myself. I stopped by the shed again before I head out, just in case. I should probably come up with something to do with this place before I leave. I'll probably only ever be here once, so I mean, I might as well make something while I'm here, which will stick around after I've left. Trebuchet that could shoot stuff into the lake wouldn't actually be a bad idea, but there's nothing to machine parts with here. I'd rather leave behind something more interesting than a bird feeder anyway. What's wrong with a bird feeder? Classic woodworking. No need to decide now, though. I might as well check out what everyone else is up to. I spot John and Meredith first when I take a look outside, out onto the lake in the rowboat. They're getting further away as I watch. I guess they wanted some time without all the rest of us tagging along. I don't blame them. It's getting a bit closer. I see Alexa sitting by the edge of the dock. In the distance, she seems almost perfectly still. As I walk towards the lake, I can see Vanny waiting by herself near the shore, by the edge of the woods, a ways off from the docks. I'll hang out with Alexa this time. I walk down toward the docks. As I get closer, I can see Alexa's holding a fishing pole. Honestly, I wouldn't have guessed fishing would be her thing. I can't stand fishing personally. Too boring. But, you know, maybe it's supposed to be like Zen-like patience, you know, that's supposed to teach me good things. I don't know. Not for me. By the time I set foot on the dock, though, I realize she's only holding onto the pole with one hand, resting the bottom of the pole against the dock. She's sitting with a book cradled in her lap. Fun fact, my microphone, I have it propped up on a book. The Ulysses S. Grant memoirs. Really good book. I've already read it, though, so, you know, it's okay. But it props up so the mic is a little bit closer to my face because I'm too lazy to buy a boom stand. Alexa gives a sudden start when she hears my voice, but she smiles as she turns back to look at me. She turns the book upside down in her lap and gives a little wave. Hey, Jessie, did you just get up? Yeah, just a bit ago. Did I miss any plans or anything when I was asleep? Nope, everyone's pretty much just been doing their own stuff since we got up. John and Meredith wanted to wait until I warmed up a bit to swim. Fanny's off over there somewhere, and Amber went off on her own or something. I don't know. She's doing some satanic ritual, probably. So I decided to try fishing. While reading at the same time, though. Well, yeah, I also figured fishing is kind of, you know, intrinsically boring. Thank you, a kindred spirit. I mean, you're mostly just sitting there waiting for long periods of time where maybe nothing happens at all for 90-something% of the time. It's basically the same pastime as sitting and staring at the lake. I've read in a few books before where characters tried fishing, and every time they're shocked at how boring it is. Like, every single writer who tried it out was offended by how boring fishing was and wanted to use their characters to vent about it. So I figured if I tried fishing and it turned out to be super boring, then I'd have absolutely no right to be surprised. So you decided to multitask. Right, exactly. If 99% of fishing is boring and 1% requires your attention and is actually interesting, I mean, I'd rather spend the other 99% paying attention to something I would have enjoyed doing anyway. Fishing is supposed to be a famous bonding activity, probably because you're spending a long amount of time doing nothing but talking. It doesn't really give you anything else to pay attention to. So, kind of like the opposite of a movie date then? Right, pretty much exactly the opposite of that, where everyone is engrossed in the movie and you're not really supposed to talk during it. We'll get mad and throw things at you. Nobody else wanted to fish, and who can blame them really, but I wanted to catch a fish. This is like my goal to do this in life. It's on my bucket list. Here's the list. It's not very long, it's just catch a fish. I'm working on it. And I didn't just want to sit around and get fed up waiting for one, you know? I mean, it's no fun. How's the book? She gives a broad smile, like she was waiting for me to ask her that. It's really interesting. The main character is a wizard's apprentice, but instead of a student-teacher relationship like you'd normally expect, he's basically being exploited for labor in a magic sweatshop. Oh my god, is that a real book? So, is it a political fantasy or something? No, not really. It's more like Alexa's explanation is cut off by the sudden jerk on her line. But at this point, she's probably completely forgotten she was fishing in the first place. Oh no, not the book. Oh! Trying to recover her book, Alexa falls off the edge of the dock. Oh my god, can you swim? Come to think of it, I'm pretty sure this is the only time I've heard her swear out loud at all. I rush over to the edge of the dock and grab onto her while she flails around in a panic. I help her up out of the water. She's gone quiet again as she climbs back up. Oh, you're all wet. Are you okay? Yeah. She looks like she's on the verge of tears. As she stands there struggling to say something, I can't help but notice that her shirt has gone completely see-through. Her bra is clearly visible through her soaked top, and her skirt is clinging to her body. You can tell just by looking at her normally that Alexa has curves, but I've never seen her figure cast into relief like this before. Crap, I'm staring. Staring's bad. Don't stare. Sorry, I've got to go change. Alexa dashes off towards the house. Well, I probably can handle that better. You know, hindsight's 20/20. It's fun. Still, I'm not going to forget seeing that anytime soon. That's going to be ingrained in my brain till the day I die. I strip down into the swimsuit I have on under my clothes and climb down off the dock to retrieve the book and fishing pole she left floating in the lake. So this is Alexa's viewpoint. There was another game I played that did a viewpoint thing. It was really cool. I can't remember the name of it. Oh my god. I can't believe that happened. How could I be so stupid? My sneakers squelch as I walk and I'm leaving a trail of water across the floor. Oh my god. Right when we were actually having a nice conversation. Of course this happens. I looked like such an idiot. I peel off my wet clothes and leave them in a pile on the floor. I really was part of that idea. He could probably tell, you know, like it was just so clever to fish and read a book at the same time. Why am I always such a klutz? I always find something to screw up, especially when it's important. I was really enjoying that book too. Normally I'd be upset about that all by myself, but compared to making a fool out of myself in front of Jesse, it's just a small inconvenience. I can buy another book. Can't buy another friend. I mean, not cheaply. I take a towel out of my luggage and start to wipe myself dry. That's so few chances to talk with just the two of us. And it's just us. It's just a conversation. It's actually really easy to talk, you know? Even if I can't tell him how I feel. Even just talking to him about a good book would have been great all on its own. But of course, I had to cut that shot by falling in the lake instead, you doof. Although that did mean I got him to help pull me back out again. And the look he was giving me afterwards, I mean, that's almost like I was naked in front of him. I squirm a little remembering. I hesitate for a moment and start to get dressed. There's no privacy here. Well, this is only the second day out here. Hopefully next time I won't screw up so bad. Hopefully. Black screen. Do I have to hit the button again? Oh, I do. Okay. Jesse, Alexa. We can do Alexa again. Yeah, let's do Alexa again. After lunch, the 6 of us talk about plans for the rest of the day. There's a trail right near here which winds up one of the mountains and gives you a really great view from the top. Sounds good to me. Exactly how long a trail are we talking about here? Maybe about 3 hours-ish? Oh god, 3 hours. Sorry, but even if the view's great, I'm not really up for 6 hours of walking up and down a mountain. I'd rather not be the one to say anything, but if it's hard for Amber, it'd probably be even worse for me. I'd be the one holding everyone else up, and knowing me, I'd probably trip on something and fall halfway down the mountain. It's not going to take as long going down as it did heading up. It's not like it'd take the whole rest of the day. Okay, but that's about 3 hours going up for you guys. Not all of us have your sporty powers. Meredith would probably set a pace I could keep up without saying anything, but it'd still be a nuisance for everyone, and I might twist my ankle or something, and someone would basically have to carry me back down, and that's no fun. Why do I have to be so weak sauce? How about a shorter trail then? Are there any other good ones around? I don't know, there are like a fuck ton of hiking trails here, but I only know a few of them. If we were back home, I'd try looking them up, but now that we're out here, I guess I have to use like a phone directory or something. What do you call those things? There has to be some way to check. Even if there's a shorter trail through, either you got you guys steadying the pace and making the whole trip exhausting, or we slow down and drag the whole thing out. You know, you could just say you didn't want to go hiking. It comes out to the same thing anyway. Probably the best I can do in the situation is just to shut up. Okay, so we can put an asterisk next to hiking with a note that Amber will complain the whole way. Is there something we could do out on a hiking trail without all of us having to do the whole thing? I mean, maybe we could head out somewhere while the ones who don't want to do the trip set up a barbecue for when we get back? Maybe there's a trail with a camping spot attached nearby. Okay, but what would we do in the meantime? It doesn't take hours to set up a barbecue. Everyone goes quiet. In the drawn-out silence, I muster up the nerve to actually suggest something. So, it wouldn't necessarily solve the issue of what to do for the whole time for anyone who's not up for the hike, but maybe we could set up a campfire and tell stories after? Campfire stories are a classic wilderness activity, right? I mean, is that still a thing people do? I'm sure it is. Could be a good way to finish, and we'd have time to prepare some before we set up. I see Jesse nod in approval. Looks like he thinks it's a decent idea at least. I'm in favor. Actually, why don't we set up a camp and tell ghost stories and then spend the night out there? Whoops. I flinched internally. Oh man, Amber's gonna be all on the ghost stories, right? Thinking about it for a second, scary stories are obviously going to be the default around a campfire at night, but telling scary stories around a campfire in the woods at night actually sounds genuinely scary, like really scary, right? We could do that. We've got 4 tents we could set up. They're kind of small, but if a couple of you don't mind sharing one, we can make it work. Sounds good to me. Yeah, okay, I'm down for that. She does not look down for that. She's just going along with it. Since all the others seem into it, though, I can't just take back the idea. I mean, it was my idea. Okay, sounds like we have a plan. Might as well start packing our shit up. Yeah, I'll show you where we keep the tents. It's been a pretty long time since we got them out. Oh, I guess I'll just have to do my best. Maybe with everyone else there, it'll be more fun than scary. I better try to come up with one of the best ghost stories then. People still use the hook hand guy, right? Okay. Alright. Now we're Jesse. Okay. Where are we at in time? 34 minutes. Perfect. I would have said perfect regardless of the time. We arrive at the campground by the entrance to the hiking trail. Like everywhere else we've been so far, there's nobody else here. There's nobody else anywhere. This place is deserted. Do you usually have this place all to yourself when you're here? We haven't actually camped outside the house in years. I think it's pretty normal for this part of the year. I mean, but we can't see if anyone else shows up later. It's better if they don't. Alone in the wilderness at night is the best ambiance for ghost stories anyway. Seems like she's actually really caught on to the idea. I knew it. So you're staying behind to set the camp and stuff. And to think of some kick-ass stories. Right. Anyone else staying? Yeah. Me. I'll help set things up. I don't want to hold you guys up with my tiny legs. Okay. Actually, setting up camp might be kind of a pain for the two of them. Amber seems to get fed up pretty easily. Yeah. Alexa's kind of clumsy. She might drop stuff. We're going to help set up the camp. I'll stay behind. Even if the two of them can handle it by themselves, by the time the others get back, Alexa seems kind of uncomfortable around Amber. I'd feel bad leaving them alone together for hours. Are you sure? Yeah, I'd probably have the easiest time setting the tents and stuff up anyway. Thanks, it'll be a lot less worried that way about screwing up and having one drop on someone's head in the middle of the night. Alright, I'll leave it up to you guys then. Meredith, John, and Vaney set out on the hiking trail, leaving us to sort out the camp preparations. So, is there like an instruction manual for these things anywhere? I don't think so. Meredith's family has had these for years, right? They probably lost any manual that came with them ages ago. Setting up tents are always so much fun. And when I say they're so much fun, they're not fun at all. I was in the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts back in the day, so I know all about that. Amber's watching us from the sidelines, hopefully at least waiting to copy what we're doing once we figure it out. You know anything about setting them up then? Because now that we've got all these pieces in front of us, I'm basically just super lost here. I've been in these tents a couple times as a kid. I'm pretty sure I can handle this. I can at least tell what all these parts are for. I've been building and putting stuff together for years. Once you get used to figuring out what a part does, it's not hard to work out what to do with it. Okay, is there anything I can help with to get started? Sure, help me roll out the bottom tarps. We start putting together a tent. After watching for a while, Amber gets started on another by herself. Oh, that's nice of her. Okay, so when do we use this stuff? Oh, that goes last. It's bug netting. It zips in when everything else is in place. Okay. Kind of funny, you know, you get these characters traveling through forests and stuff all the time in fantasy stories. I mean, sometimes they're even totally roughing it and sleeping under trees and stuff, and they never have any bug spray or anything. But nobody ever mentions getting bugs crawling on them under their clothes or anything. Or what it's like living with a billion mosquitoes and everything. Oh man, we stayed in one of these tents in one of the summer camps I was at, and no joke, there were like daddy long legged spiders all over inside the tents. Now, they're really chill spiders. They don't really do anything, but they're just creepy because they're all over, and even on like the ceiling of the tent, and I'm like freaking out like they're gonna fall on me when I'm sleeping. They never did. I mean, maybe they did, and I just didn't realize it, but I don't know. I don't like spiders or most bugs. Usually medievalish fantasy settings have some kind of reason written into why the characters aren't smelly or diseased all the time, but you never see any curatiness or repel insect spells. We finished the first of the tents, zipping the netting into place. Oh, I mean, that makes sense though, since you put that level of detail into the game, it'd just be too complicated to actually play it. You'd get stat minuses because your character is out of breath because their nose is stuffy from seasonal allergies. My god, would that be amazing if a game actually went to that kind of lengths. Like, yeah, it'd be really annoying, but man, it would be really impressive. I mean, eventually it just stops being a game and basically becomes real life, except doing everything with your fingers. It's probably not a good idea to put it in a game, but I don't think that makes it too much like real life. And you got the simulation games that pretty much like real life, like The Sims. Granted, it's not that detailed, but you know, it's still like it's work. I mean, I get into fantasy stories because I like the idea of going on adventures and stuff, not because I'm trying to escape from the reality of mosquitoes. If it's in a book or something, reading about that kind of detail makes it kind of feel more like a real world to me. That's fair, but I think a lot of the fun usually has to do with imagining people dealing with a bigger scale of problems than they'd normally get to in real life. You know, if you actually had to take down an evil emperor or some kind of giant monster in real life, you'd probably want an army to do it with. But when everyone's part in this big conflict is that small, nobody's story is really as interesting. So instead, you have stories where the fate of the world or a kingdom or something mostly hinges on a few people whose names you can actually remember. So you have a few people who are occupied with huge problems like trying to save the world, and mosquitoes end up being too much of a distraction from the actual point. Well, if you read enough of it, I think you'll find a lot of fantasy that's really not like that. I think the big issue is the people who write it mostly don't get out much. So even if they want to be realistic, they're just making it up as they go along. Yeah, what is it? J.K. Rowling, when she wrote the Harry Potter, when she was writing like the Quidditch, she like didn't know anything about sports in general. So that's why Quidditch makes like no sense at all in terms of like the rules and stuff. It's just like ridiculous. Now that we've gotten the hang of it, the second tent goes faster than the first. Alexa falls into a rhythm of holding pieces in place for me and keeping them steady as I put them together. Makes the work a lot easier than doing it myself, and we're quickly outpace Amber, who's silently doing the work by herself. In the end, she and I set up the 3 of the tents to the one Amber did alone. Okay, that was faster than I thought. Considering her confusion in the face of the tents to start with, it was probably a whole lot faster than it would have been if she and Amber had been doing them together. Hey, since we got so much time left over, do you want to check out the trail with me? I mean, I'm not gonna be able to keep up with everyone else on a serious hike, but I'd rather not be the kind of writer who never gets out anywhere if I can actually avoid it. Sure, why not? We're gonna have a lot of things to get ready we're going to have to get things ready for dinner before the others get back, but we still have a lot of time to spare. We head down the hiking trail, leaving behind Amber, who still hasn't said a word to either of us. Oh, that's a shame. So, does anything jump out that you wouldn't have thought to put in a story otherwise? I already noticed this out in the woods the other day, but off the trails, the underbrush and stuff makes it pretty hard to actually get around. I always imagine it'd be easier to walk through. There's loads of stuff that would probably cut my legs up if I tried to stumble through it. I mean, wouldn't it be easier if you were wearing pants, though? I guess if they were thick enough. I paused for a moment, taking in what she's actually wearing. Well, why aren't you wearing pants, actually? I mean, if you're going to wander around in the woods while you're here and you're worried about your legs, it'd probably be a lot safer that way. He goes quiet. I don't own any pants. My God, it's worse than I thought. The sudden silence makes me think of just how little she usually talks when there are more people around. Must have said something to make her uncomfortable. I start searching for something else to change the subject to. Oh my God. I don't actually own any pants. Oh my God, I didn't really think she'd say that. Seriously? Wait, I've seen you wear pants at school. Don't lie to me. Yeah, but not recently. I used to own pants. It just got too difficult. To get ones that would fit. I mean, she's lost me there. Why can't you get pants that fit? Because, how I'm built. How are you built? I'm short and I have a narrow waist and my hips and butt are kind of big. He pats her hips, illustrating her point. Basically, there's almost nothing in a regular clothing store made to fit someone my shape. I have to get parts taken in or let out or shortened, and it's a pain and embarrassing. He tugs at her shirt. A lot of the time I just end up buying kids' clothes or stuff for grandmas because it's not really made to fit a shape, it just goes over you. My mind flashes back to this morning, seeing her wet clothes clinging to her body. Now that she mentions it, I really haven't seen her wearing anything I describe as figure-flattering since. Probably before I got together with Kiera, at least. Wasn't really a problem a few years ago, but I kind of stopped growing up a while back and kept growing out. So that's what I've got. I mulled this over for a bit. Mainly, I'm wondering if it'll make her feel better or worse if I tell her figure's sexy. I guess not being able to buy pants that fit gives some context to the idea of worrying about mundane stuff like the mosquitoes in a fantasy world. In the end, I settle for a safer option. After this trip is over, we probably won't have much chance to see each other anyway. Probably better not to go there, I hate to build something up just to have it get torn down. Yeah, kind of. I wish we got the option there, though. That would have been nice to have the option to mention it. I mean, maybe it would just end up being like awkward and we just don't talk to each other for a while, like in real life. But I don't know. It's just something to think about. Not that I'm telling them how to design their game. We stick to the subject of fantasy for the rest of the walk. By the time we make it back to the camp, Alexa's awkward feeling seems to have vanished completely. Okay, so this is her point of view. Maybe we'll have the point of view of when we were talking in the woods. Okay, no, it doesn't. We set the campfire just before nightfall, so by the time it's burning properly, we're surrounded by the same deep darkness from the first night. I can hear the night sounds of the wilderness all around us over the crackling of the fire. This is the actual classic setting for stories around a campfire, and it's way more dramatic than I would have expected. Man, I miss a good campfire, like sitting around a campfire with a bunch of people. It's really nice. So who wants to go first? I guess I will, because mine's probably going to be kind of shitty, so you can all feel better about yours afterwards. I've had plenty of time to get some story ideas ready. Ghost stories really aren't my thing, but I've got some pride to live up to as a writer, so I wanted to aim for something that would stand out. But not all writers are good. There's a lot of bad writers out there. Okay, so here goes. Meredith launches into a story about a real estate agent trying to sell a haunted house. There was a funny comedy that I watched on Netflix. It was about a realtor trying to sell a haunted house. It was pretty funny. I can't even remember the name of it, but I enjoyed it. It doesn't actually suck. It's kind of goofy. She plays up the voices to make it seem sillier instead of being actually creepy. I almost offer some polite applause at the end before I realized nobody else is clapping. I guess the plotting at the end of a campfire ghost story is kind of weird. I don't know. Okay, I guess I'll go next. John's story is one I've read before in a book as a kid. A girl tries to call up a ghost in a graveyard, and she scares herself so badly she has a heart attack and dies. Oh my god. It's not goofy like the first one, obviously, but the way he tells it isn't really that scary either. And since there's no actual ghosts in the story, it's like a psychological thing, right? It comes out more like a cautionary tale, gets freaking out over nothing. Jesse holds his hand up next. Seems like he's decided we're going around the campfire in order counterclockwise. Jesse is one I've never heard before. I wonder if he thought it up while we were on the trail together. It's about a guy who eats a bird, and then he gets sick and dies. A baby bird hatches from his chest and uses his body like a nest. Ew. Yeah, thinking of that visual at the end actually gives me shivers. I don't plan on losing, though. I got a good one. I start telling the first story I came up with on the way over here. The basic idea came from a book I read once, but I've twisted it around into something different. It's about a girl who falls in love with a boy, yeah. But the family doesn't like him. They tell her he's creepy and seems dangerous. She loves him, and he's always perfectly nice to her. Perfect guy. Why wouldn't they love him? You don't understand, Mom. But with her family's warnings, she starts to become more and more afraid of him. Everything he does starts to seem sinister to her. Eventually, he asks her to talk to him alone in a private place. He reaches out and puts her hand on her shoulder, and she stabs him. She stabs him over and over until he's dead. She does her best to hide his body in her bloody clothes in hopes that nobody will ever find out. But when she gets home, her parents say, "Well, thank goodness he's gone." The next day, her boyfriend's friend asks how she's doing. He says her boyfriend told him he was going to break things off with her, and he knows it must have been hard. But her parents were just freaking him out too much. To be honest, okay, my delivery wasn't really that great, and it would probably have been better if I'd come up with something with a sudden impact at the ending, but I get some appreciative looks when I'm done. That's a pretty good story. Seems like I've managed to be adequately creepy. Vanny's up next. Her story actually seems cheerful to begin with, about a farmer growing corn who needs to replace a scarecrow on his property. It gets darker and darker as she goes on, though. One thing after another goes wrong for the farmer, and he vents his frustration on the scarecrow, turning it into a scapegoat for all the problems in his life. Eventually, the scarecrow comes to life, but it doesn't really do much to begin with. It just wanders around the farm. Vanny pantomimes the way it walked through, and it walked, though, and watching her do that toe-stepping thing around the flickering campfire is seriously the creepiest thing I've ever seen. She draws the story out of the farmer being cautious around the scarecrow and trying to be friendly with it, hoping it doesn't remember the way he treated it before it came to life, right? But eventually he just kills him, peels the skin, stuffs it full of straw, and sticks him out in the field with all the corn. Oh man, that's an amazing story. And then the scarecrow vents to the farmer about all the frustrations in his life that he had. It's like ironic or something. I can't. My mouth is dry. I'm not sure I could even talk in front of everyone now. I don't think I can even remember my other stories. It's Amber's turn now. She's grinning. Oh, she's got a good one. Her story is about an insane killer who hides away in the woods just like these. That's not fair. You can't use the woods. That's not fair. She screams at the end, and Meredith actually jumps in her seat and clings to John. I wish I could cling to Jesse. But I'm basically frozen, shuddering in my seat. We were keeping up the same order. It would have been Meredith's turn next, but it doesn't look like she's ready to follow that up. I know I can't. But Vanny smiles and watches into another story. Oh crap, they're competing with each other, or they're actually trying to one-up each other. They both spend more time telling stories for each other. telling stories each than the rest of us put together. I don't know who won. I just want to hide in bed until it's daylight. No one wins. After I take a drink to recover from my dry mouth, I curl up inside my sleeping bag and hope that somehow I won't have nightmares. Did we have nightmares? Crap. I had nightmares. Oh wait, no. I can't sleep like this. Even now, I can't calm down. I'm too excited. But more than that, there's no way I can sleep because I have to pee. There's a bathroom attached to the campsite, but I was in such a rush to get to bed afterwards that I forgot to use it. I step out of the tent after hiding my head inside my sleeping bag for so long. My eyes are adjusted enough to the darkness that I can just barely make out the landscape around me. The bathroom is a few minutes walk from here in daylight. Right now, I can barely see my footing, but more than that, I'm not sure something isn't going to rush down and murder me or eat me at any. You might as well just squat and go in the forest, to be honest. There could actually be a dead body lying around the ground nearby, and I wouldn't even notice it. Oh my god. I can do this, right? We literally just listened to a bunch of scary stories in the woods tonight. There's nothing dangerous out here that isn't out here in the day that I know of. Even less, probably, you know. Bears sleep at night and something, right? The thought fails to comfort me, but I start walking anyway. Ah! Something rustles on the ground and I let out a squeak. I have no idea what that was. I'd like to comfort myself and say it was just a mouse or something, but I seriously have no way to tell. Press on. We can do this. I can't just turn back. I might not be strong or have special powers like a heroine from a story, but this is not a real adventure now, is it? Are you sure it's not a real adventure? Feels like one. There aren't actually monsters or murders out there in the night. This is just a trip to the bathroom in the dark. I keep walking. As I walk, I miss a dip in the ground and stumble, almost falling down. I hear something that sounds like laughter. Oh my god. It occurs to me that there actually could be murderers out there. Speaking of murderers, did you guys hear about they finally cracked the Zodiac Killer's cipher? Pretty crazy. It was like 50 some years, like 51 years. It was unsolved. Pretty nuts, right? Amazing. We're gonna keep going though. I keep walking. It's late June. It's not cold enough for me to be shivering like this. I hear an owl hooting. Creepy. I know it's an owl, but I still let a little whine when I hear it. I wish everything I hear could just be silent. Actually, no, that might be worse. I'm feeling out the ground with every step, trying to make sure I don't trip again. It suddenly occurs to me just how far I still have to go compared to how far I've come. I try to speed up. If I go faster, the trip will be over sooner, right? It's like science. I hurry for several steps before I realize how much I'm like running prey right now. I stumble and skid to a stop. I realize I'm panicking. For a moment, I can't even remember which way I'm supposed to be going. When I look around, I can make out the silhouette of the tents where everyone else is sleeping. The bathroom is in the opposite direction of that. It still seems much, much further away. I have to make it. I try to force myself to walk away from the tents. I can't make myself do it. My legs are shaking. If I try to keep going, they might actually give out. The only way I can make myself walk is to convince myself that the tents represent safety that I can retreat to. I'm sorry, I can't make it by myself. Aww. I return to the tents, the knowledge weighing like a stone in my chest that not only am I strong or cool or graceful like a storybook heroine, there's nothing about me that's brave. Even though he's the last person I want to look lame in front of, Jesse's really the only person I can ask for help. Meredith is sharing a tent with John. There's no way I can wake her up by herself. Vandy and Amber are also sharing. Besides that, this whole mess is their fault to begin with. I rustle the front of his tent. Jesse. I wait for a moment, uncertain. Is he a deep sleeper? Will I have to open this tent to wake him up? Well, what if he freaks out at me waking him up in the middle of the night? Thankfully, Jesse unzips the tent in his own and steps out. Hey, Alexa, what's up? He's only half awake, but seeing him there in front of me calms me down enough to form sentences. Sorry, I couldn't sleep. I had to pee. I tried to get into the bathroom on my own, but I got really scared. I'm so sorry. Oh, okay. I try to muster up the nerve to ask if he'll come with me, but even half asleep, he seems like to get the picture. He walks towards the bathrooms and I follow along beside him. Aww. I hold on to the corner of his shirt sleeve. Sorry, it's dark and the footing's really bad. I don't want to lose you. It's okay. I want to hold his hand, but this is already embarrassing enough. My hands are still shaking. Sorry for asking you to do this. I know it's really stupid. Oh, no big deal. In this situation, it totally makes sense for him to be pissed at me. I really hope that somehow it's actually not a big deal. It's not. Trust. I wish just having him here were enough to keep me calm, but the night noises are still frightening. I try to take some deep breaths to steady myself. Oh my god, that literally fucking scared me. Holy shit, game. Whew. An awful blood-curdling scream tears through the darkness. I cling to Jesse's arm in terror. I want to ask him what that sound was, but all that comes out is a whimper. Oh god. There's actually murderers out here in the forest. Is it the Zodiac Killer? My heart is pounding so hard it hurts. I notice a sudden feeling of warmth. Oh no. My pajama bottoms are clinging to me. The noises around us have been joined by a light pattering sound. There's nothing I can do to stop it any more than I can let go of Jesse's arm. Oh no. Oh no, we wet ourselves. I stay frozen like that for what feels like ages, processing what just happened. Alexa, let's go back. What? We can't just head back? Sorry. As the realization dawns on me, I let out a breath and turns around. I follow along, still holding onto his arm. Promise you won't tell anyone, please? Speedy, please? Don't worry about it. I head back to the tents with him, more mortified than I've ever been in my whole life. Right? It's like your crush, and then you urinate accidentally. Embarrassing. We're about an hour in. I think that's good. If you like the game, you can play the demo on itch.io. Complex Relations, check it out. Coming soon. Take care, everybody, and have a good day.